Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing slash review of the PlayStation 4 Pro. Released in late 2013, the PlayStation 4 was Sony's next entry in the PlayStation line, and a couple years later, Sony's released an updated version of the PlayStation 4 that we have in front of us now. The PlayStation 4 Pro is capable of outputting games in a 4K resolution, and it has more powerful hardware in this specific system than the standard PlayStation 4 that came out in 2013, and its revision, the PlayStation 4 Slim, as well. So, the reason why I wanted a PlayStation 4 Pro was mainly because of those enhancements. The PlayStation 4 Pro just has better hardware, so for a future-proof standpoint, spending $100 more to get this system I feel is worth it than getting the PlayStation 4 Slim. Even though you can find the PlayStation 4 Slim in a lot of different bundles right now, I still wanted to get the Pro version because if I ever get a 4K TV, then I'll be able to play games in 4K, whether it be native or upscaled. Plus, you can go ahead and have a better virtual reality experience on the PlayStation 4 Pro. So that was a long-winded explanation of why I have this system. But as you see while I'm talking here, I'm showing you the front and the back of the box, so you can see the things that Sony is advertising on this system. But let's go ahead now and actually open this system up. So this is a 1TB PlayStation 4, which is good because this generation of gaming has huge installation files, and you really need as much hard drive space as you can get. I have a 1TB Xbox One, and I filled that up in less than a year. I already had to get an external hard drive for it. It was that bad. And I imagine the PlayStation 4 will probably just be no different. This thing, I'm going to say right now, is heavy. Trying to hold this one-handed is not an easy task. So, now we got this box off. Now we're into the main attraction here. So, let's go ahead and open this up and see what is inside. So, first off, right on the very top, got a quick start guide right here. As I trip over my words, I can't talk well today apparently. I'm not going to open this up, it's just your basic instructions, like how to set it up, how to use menus, stuff like that. So, it's a nice little introduction point, but if you ever use a Sony system, you don't have to worry, and even then, the system pretty much guides you through how to set everything up. So I don't think I'll need to have a quick start guide. So let's go ahead and open up the smaller box, since this will have all of our accessories, plugs, and so on. So first off, we got this right here. This is the USB cable to charge up the controller. So as you can see right here, got a smaller tip that was used more for a cell phone. This is more of a micro USB now, so you can't use the same chargers on a PlayStation 3 controller as a PlayStation 4, if that's what you're coming off of, as I am. But that's not a big deal, because I have plenty of those cables lying around thanks to my cell phones. So let me actually check the thing that fell out of the box. So this here, I laugh at this because this is a very, very cheap headset. You got this one earbud you just put in your ear. Then you have the actual line microphone itself. You can go ahead and adjust volume from the looks of things here. Actually, it's more of an on-off switch. So you can actually push this up. As you can hear by the slight clicking, hopefully it's coming through in the mic. And that's pretty much all this is. It's a one-eared headset piece. So this is good to get you started, but I would honestly recommend using literally anything else, because this would get very uncomfortable after a while in my opinion. Then you have the power cord here, so kind of need this to power the system. It's an internal power supply, so that means there's no brick. You just get a cord, so that's good for convenience sake in terms of hooking it up. So that's it for that portion of the box. So if we flip it around, you'll still see some more stuff here. Let's go ahead and open the next part up, because now we're getting into the big meat of this portion of the box. But first things first, HDMI cable. Kinda need this to hook it up to your television. HDMI only output for this, and I do believe this is HDMI 2.0 compatible, which is why I could do 4K to begin with. So keep that in mind. It's HDMI 2.0 compliant. And I do believe it works on any 1.4 HDMI, which means any television that has an HDMI cord, this system will play on. But now, let us go ahead and take this out of the bag. This here is the DualShock 4 controller, and this is a redesigned version too. We'll see later on in the video why this is slightly different, but this is the controller, and I've actually had some time to use this controller already. I actually bought, over Black Friday, my own PlayStation 4 controller for the PC, because there was a great deal where you can buy the controller and then the USB adapter to use on Windows for like $40. And that was a fantastic deal. Even though the adapter isn't that great, the controller itself is definitely worth that $40. So I have another one, and I'll talk about this controller more once we get into the review portion of this video. But I gotta say, it's a very solid controller. It feels very nice in the hands and comfortable. The only thing I'm not a fan of is the options and the share button. The placement's okay to me. I just think the buttons are a little too receded. So it feels very awkward at first to press the buttons. You'll get used to it. And then this giant thing in the center is a touchpad. So you rub your finger across here and you have touch actions in the game. And as you can hear, you can click it in as well. It has a speaker in the front, so it has a lot of unique features. You got a headphone jack here. So you can go ahead and plug in like any 3.5mm bass headphones or headset and use it with your PlayStation 4. So that's all of that stuff. So now, let's get all this stuff out of the way and get ready for the main attraction. The PlayStation 4 Pro. Like I said while I was moving this box, this is actually a pretty hefty system, but before we get to the Pro, this fell out. The best place to play. And I'm going to screen this just to make sure there's no codes. Good, there's not. So, you just pretty much get some advertisements like, here's some games you can play, here's some PlayStation Plus information, so on and so forth. So, kind of like the quick start guide, not really necessary. It's just kind of there. So now, let's just get this stuff out of the way. There's just so much to this box, it's ridiculous. So we'll just tuck the cardboard in here, say screw the box, and say hello to the PlayStation 4 Pro. So as you can see, this system slightly slanted. It's a giant rectangle shape, so it's unique looking, I'll say that. In the front here you have some USB ports. You have an eject button from the looks of things right here, which is kind of hard to get on camera. Physical button, which is nice. But here's the power button. Again, kind of small, but that's fine. You got the dish tray right there. Then if we move around to the back, you have an Ethernet jack. You have another USB. Actually, I think it's two of them. No, it's one USB, because this right here is the auxiliary, which is used for the PlayStation camera. Then you have your HDMI and your digital audio out, and then a place for your power, of course. But yeah, that is the PlayStation 4 Pro. Fingerprints are already kind of on it, but more or less because after unboxing all this, my hands are kind of sweaty, and that's not the most pleasant thing to look at. So now with the system unboxed, we've seen what it came with. Let's go ahead and get to the main attraction itself. Let's take a look at what the PS4 Pro can do. So I've been using the PlayStation 4 Pro for quite some time now, and I think I'm finally ready to go ahead and give my thoughts on the console itself. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the PlayStation 4 Pro can do. So starting off, let's go ahead and take a look at the difference between the PlayStation 4 Pro and the normal PlayStation 4 systems that you can go ahead and buy. So starting off, the PS4 Pro has more powerful hardware inside of it compared to a normal PS4. It has a better graphics card inside of it, it has a little bit more memory, and now because of all that, it has 4K support. So you can go ahead and play your PlayStation 4 games in 4K if you have a supported television or monitor. And that's the biggest selling point with the PS4 Pro, 4K gaming. A lot of games don't run in native 4K on the PlayStation 4 Pro, but they can be upscaled to that resolution. So this system will work perfectly fine on a 4K display, no matter what game you're playing. If you don't have a 4K television like myself, then the PS4 Pro is still really good for 1080p gaming. Because of that extra hardware that's inside the PS4 Pro compared to the original PS4 systems, you can go ahead and play older PS4 games or newer games that have PS4 Pro support in a higher frame rate, and usually it's a more stable experience playing on the PS4 Pro system itself. Just recently, there was an update on the PS4 Pro called Boost Mode. And what Boost Mode allows you to do is it will allow your system to play older PS4 games that don't have native PS4 Pro support and play them at higher frame rates. So the PS4 Pro would take its extra hardware for these older games with Boost Mode turned on and apply some extra fixes to these games, making them play a lot smoother. So on the PS4 Pro, you're getting a smoother experience no matter what game you're playing. And it's a very nice experience. If you're not a PS4 owner already, the PS4 Pro is a great stepping stone into the PlayStation 4 family, just because you can go ahead and play these games at their best quality right now. And it's a really smooth experience because of that. But looking at the games that's on the PlayStation 4 itself, there's a lot of exclusives on Sony's PlayStation 4 right now. You have series like The Last of Us, Uncharted, Ratchet & Clank, Horizon. There are a lot of different exclusive titles, and the games right now on the PS4 are really good and are a really strong selling point for the system. I wanted to have a PS4 in my collection for a couple years now thanks to the game library, and over the years the exclusives have been getting better and better, and there have been more and more exclusives for Sony's system. So I've been enjoying playing my games on my PS4, and it's been a really nice and smooth experience with the Pro taking these games and giving me enhanced features, making them play even smoother, or giving them extra graphical detail and making them look even better compared to a normal PS4 system. There is one thing I do want to mention about the PS4 Pro system in particular, is that whenever you're playing a graphically intensive game on your PS4, you can hear the system start kicking up its fans, and it'll also get hotter. So you want to make sure you have the system out in the open and make sure it's not in an enclosed space, but the system can get loud under load. You can go ahead and also play your PS2 games on the PS4 thanks to re-releases, but this plays pretty much as an emulation service, so you're not going to be able just to pop in your PlayStation 2 disc into the PS4. You have to buy these games, but I noticed playing PS2 games on the PS4, they just seem to run smoother on this system. It seems like they made the PS2 support on the PS4 just a lot better overall compared to how the PlayStation 3 handled PS2 gaming. So I feel like PS2 games on the PS4 are even better now than they used to be, and that's a really pleasant experience. You have other features you can go ahead and use on the PS4. You have media streaming services, so you can go ahead and watch your favorite videos via Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Twitch, pretty much any video service you can think of. You can go ahead and use the PlayStation 4 for that service, and it's been very nice using my PS4 as a media box in my house because I'm able to go ahead and plop up all my favorite videos on the big screen and control them from my couch with no problem whatsoever. The Xbox One can also do these kind of things, but the PS4 has these features as well, and I just want to go ahead and note those said features. There's other things you can go ahead and do with your PS4. With the PlayStation Plus subscription, you can go ahead and play your games online, which is very similar to Microsoft's Xbox Live Gold. We can get free games every month, and you can go ahead and play your games online using a paid service. But PlayStation Plus doesn't just give you free games and online gaming. You can go ahead and also use extra features too, which I find really interesting. If you have a PlayStation Plus subscription, there is a feature where you can share your games with your friends. And this is not like a game sharing thing where they get a copy of the game and you have a copy. That's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about, however, is you can go ahead and play a game that has no online multiplayer, and you can go ahead and make that an online multiplayer game. With this game sharing feature on the PS4, you can go ahead and basically hand your controller to someone who's not even in the same room as you via an online server. So you can go ahead and either do one or two things. You can go ahead and pass your controller off to someone else so they can help you out in a part of the game you're stuck in, which I find to be a really cool and interesting feature. They don't need to have PlayStation Plus to play the game, but you need PlayStation Plus in order to share the control with someone online. Then there's also the feature where you can add someone into that game, even if it doesn't have online multiplayer, and basically give them a second controller to let them play the game in a local multiplayer styled mode. And I find these options to be really interesting, and these can be really useful for games that don't have any online multiplayer. Games, for example, like Wild Guns Reloaded would take advantage of this kind of game sharing mode since it doesn't have online multiplayer, yet you can still make it an online multiplayer based game if you have PlayStation Plus. You need PlayStation Plus along with the person you want to play with if you're going to do this method though, however, so do keep that in mind. But this is a very cool and interesting feature, and I would like to see more systems do something like this in the future. You can go ahead and record and also stream games from your PlayStation 4. With the share button that's located on the PS4 controller, you can go ahead and open up a menu to basically share anything you want from your game. You can go ahead and record a short clip from your game and share that online with people using YouTube or Twitter and such. You can go ahead and take a screenshot, so you can go ahead and share your images out to the world, or you can live stream to sites like YouTube or Twitch or Ustream, and you can go ahead and share your gameplay, commentate over it, and if you have a PlayStation camera, you can go ahead and stream yourself as well, have that in the game feed, which I find to be a very nice touch if you're that kind of person who likes to stream having a webcam turned on. One thing to note, on the PlayStation 4 Pro, you can stream up to 1080p at 30 frames per second, or 720p at 60 frames per second, which I find to be the sweet spot on Twitch. So I do like how the PS4 Pro allows you to stream at a much higher resolution and frame rate compared to normal PlayStation 4 systems. You can also record higher quality video on the PS4 Pro and take better screenshots. You can take 4K screenshots using the share feature on the PS4 Pro, as well as you can record up to 1080p for your videos. So the share functionality on the PS4 Pro has better quality options compared to normal PS4s, but it's still as useful, if not even more useful now, than the share feature is already on the PlayStation 4, and I find this to be a really convenient service for sharing your gameplay clips. It's a lot easier to share gameplay clips on the PS4 than it is on the Xbox One. You can go ahead and play your PlayStation 4 system on things like your PlayStation Vita or your PC using Sony's Remote Play feature. Now, what Remote Play will allow you to do is stream the video from your PlayStation 4 onto your said device. So you can go ahead and use Remote Play as long as you're on the same Wi-Fi network and stream it to your PlayStation Vita, and then play all your PS4 games on the Vita no matter where you are in the house. But I've been mainly using Remote Play on my computer, and I gotta say, the Remote Play feature is pretty useful, but it does have some hitches. I haven't found it to be as reliable as the Xbox streaming program on Windows 10, but it has been a really useful service, and I've been able to get some good use out of the Remote Play feature in a couple different rooms in my house. With the PS4 Pro system, you can go ahead and stream Remote Play at a higher resolution and frame rate. So if you have a PS4 Pro, you can go ahead and play in 1080p 60 frames per second, as long as your internet connection can support that kind of resolution and frame rate being streamed on your network. You do need to have a PlayStation 4 controller plugged into your computer via either USB or using Sony's official wireless adapter for the PS4 controllers. But speaking of the wireless adapter for the PS4 controller, I do want to mention one little thing about this adapter, is that it's really only used for the PlayStation Remote Play feature. It's also going to be used for the PlayStation Now service, because that is now available on PC. But if you're expecting this thing to work as a adapter for you to use your PlayStation 4 controller on your computer for any game, it's not going to work like that without extra software. So you're really only using this device for the PlayStation 4 Remote Play or PlayStation Now if you're interested in that program as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PS4 controller. I've been using the PS4 controller for quite some time on both the PC and the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I gotta say, this is a very comfortable controller. It's the same classic layout you're used to on a PlayStation controller, where you have the two joysticks on the bottom of the controller. You also have your D-pad and your face buttons parallel to each other. But right in the center, you can see this giant black bar. This is a touch bar, and this allows you to go ahead and interact with your games via touch controls. Not every game will use this touchpad, unfortunately, but when they do, you can rub your finger on this touchpad and you can interact with the game, whether it be by drawing stuff, by flicking, or it could just be used as a button by just pressing it down. So the trackpad itself is very nice and useful. You also have the options in the share button. I was talking about the share button earlier, how you can press this and pull up a menu to share gameplay, but the options button is basically your pause button for games. The only thing I don't like about these buttons is that they're very small, so it can be a little bit awkward to press when you're first using a PS4 controller, but over time you get used to the smaller size of these buttons, and it starts to become a little bit more comfortable over time. You also have a speaker located in the center of the controller, which is not too bad of a speaker built into a controller. This pretty much just has a very limited functionality, just like how the speaker worked on a Wii remote. You have games that will sometimes take advantage of the speaker on the PS4 controller just to send extra audio out to you. So games like Dragon Ball Xenoverse, for example, will use the speaker to communicate with you via the controller as well as the television.
Can you hear me? Okay, good. Now, I'll be backing you up from the time nest. Listen, this Raditz, he's stronger and crueler than his historical form. Please, I need you to defeat Raditz, so Goku and the others can finish him.
You can go ahead and plug in a standard pair of headphones to the PS4 controller, as it uses a 3.5mm jack, so any pair of headphones you have will probably work with the PS4 controller. And you can also plug in headsets to this as well, so any headset using the 3.5mm size jack will work with the PlayStation 4 controller. So you can pretty much use whatever headset you have lying around with this thing for online gaming, and I find that very nice and convenient. You also have your triggers here in the back, which have been redesigned compared to the PlayStation 3 controller. They're not as slippery and they feel a lot more comfortable in your fingers. They don't really slide around, or your fingers don't really slide off the buttons, and that feels a lot better and a lot more solid. You also see that you have this light bar here on the controller. This is mainly to be used with the PlayStation camera for some games, but it will also just stay lit, depends on what game you're playing or what account you're logged into. It could be different colors. By default, it will be blue when you're player 1, but some games I heard take advantage of this light bar and change different colors. And also, if you're using PlayStation VR, you can go ahead and have this light bar be used for some extra controls in the game. But speaking of PlayStation VR, that is one thing I am unfortunately unable to show in this video because I do not have a PlayStation VR system, but that is something you can also do on the PS4. And the PS4 Pro was more designed for VR in mind, not just for 4K gaming, but PlayStation VR was another reason why Sony wanted to make a more powerful PlayStation 4 system. With this extra hardware in the PS4 Pro, the VR experience is supposed to be a lot more stable and supposed to be higher quality, higher frame rate, so it's just supposed to be more immersive. And while I haven't really seen too much PlayStation VR played on the PS4 Pro, I can already say from what I've seen, the VR experience on the PS4 Pro is a lot better compared to a normal PS4 system. So if you're interested in PlayStation VR, you're best off getting a PS4 Pro for that VR experience. Overall, the PS4 Pro is a very solid system in my opinion. This is a nice upgrade compared to the original PlayStation 4, and with the amount of exclusive games on the PlayStation 4, this system is the perfect way to get into the PlayStation 4 ecosystem right now, because you get all the benefits of the original PS4 with extra hardware making your games play nicer, they run at a higher frame rate, and you have extra features as well if you want to go ahead and play on a 4K television or use PlayStation VR in a more stable environment. Can I recommend this system to someone who already owns a PlayStation 4? No, I cannot. And the reason being is while there are significant upgrades to the PS4 Pro that make it the overall best way to play a PlayStation 4 game right now, I can't recommend this system to people who already have a PlayStation 4, because while this makes your games play better, it doesn't really add anything new to the PlayStation 4 ecosystem. So if you already have a normal PS4, you're not really missing out on any extra new features. Besides being able to record and stream your gameplay using the share feature in higher resolutions, you're getting basically the same experience. You're just getting a better experience on the PlayStation 4 Pro, which is why I can say if you own a PlayStation 4 already, there's no point upgrading to the PS4 Pro. Unless you need a new PS4, there's no reason to buy this one if you already own a PS4. But if you're like me, and you don't own a PlayStation 4 whatsoever, you're best off getting a PS4 Pro. With the extra hardware, even if you don't have a 4K television, the PS4 Pro is just a better option. With the better hardware, your games will play at much higher frame rates and resolutions, but if you can't take advantage of those extra resolution bumps due to not having a 4K television, your games will still look nicer in the end because games will be super sampled up in 1080p, so their graphical quality will just be bumped up and it will look nicer. So if you don't have a PlayStation 4 already, the PS4 Pro is a great entry point into the PlayStation 4 ecosystem. I'm very happy with my PlayStation 4 Pro, and I'll be getting a lot of use out of my PS4 Pro with all the upcoming PS4 games coming out this year, as well as the massive backlog of exclusive games that have already been released for the system. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.